Oh, we get to start with giggling children. It's adorable. Hey guys, welcome. Welcome. It's Sunday night. We're back to our normal schedule for now. I do have something I might be working on that is kind of related to what we're talking about tonight. I'm going to pray about it. I've made some notes on the whiteboard. The whiteboard was blank for a while, but it has got some writing on it now because I'm thinking about getting going here on another project. And meanwhile, we'll do this kind of stuff. So let me know if you can hear me okay, guys. I'm going to go to the window image here. So want to remind you guys, you're going to see an odd picture at first, but I will be bringing this up in a minute. Why? Uh-oh, it's not working. I don't think you guys can see that. I might have to close this out for just a second, guys, and then come back in. So just looks like it's going to show the screen now. I think we're good to go. And just like that, it looks like it's good to go. You can see the screen now. Never mind, you didn't have to see the weird picture. Okay, so there is a weird picture. These ghouls. I'm going to be talking about these ghouls here in a minute. But on my community page, as you can see at the top, this is my YouTube. When you're on my YouTube, you got home, videos, playlist, community. I have 2 raffles going right now. One is almost full for the Darth Vader down here. Okay, so you just got to pick a spot and send me some dollars. And there's only 3 spots left, so that's good. I'll be going ahead and raffling that as soon as it fills. Just 3 spots or $10 spots. And then we'll do some lower, like $3, $4 spots for a while because I've been doing the high dollar ones too much. But also, if you are not a member of 7K Metals and you want to buy gold and silver at the best price, like all of us are doing here, there are spots left for that too. That's $25 a spot. But $25 a spot wins you an annual membership to buy gold and silver at the best prices. And I just had somebody email me the other day and say, yeah, I've been buying from Noble Gold and it'd be $100 less for me just on what this person is buying regularly, which is like every month, $100 less every month. So it's far worth it. Welcome, Patricia. Welcome, Darla. Welcome, Colo Guy, Dr. T-Pose, Windsor, Rusty, Faithful Patriot. Welcome. And I know that Nick Gerald was here, Marcella Digger Dan, and Brooke was here earlier. And the next thing I want to mention is shout out to my kids, guys. My 2 beautiful children got a full water immersion baptism today through our church. I did this last year. I've been baptized as an Episcopal when I was 18, but that's just they pour some water over your head. So it was a beautiful thing. We took pictures and video. It was wonderful to be able to talk about these things and why it matters with my kids and have them make that decision at age 6 and 7. So God bless. It's a wonderful thing. I am so excited about that. They're smart kids. And Revel's here, guys, but I'm going to introduce him in like 2 seconds. He and I just wanted to mention this hat because it's kind of cool. I have donated myself so far $25 to this because I want President Trump to win in 2020, and I will vote, but I'm not telling you to send money because that doesn't do anything for me, right? I don't get any kickbacks. But it's kind of cool to keep America Great hat signed. So I've sent $25 in. So with that, I'm going to introduce my good friend John, aka Revel. John, welcome again, Sunday night.
Hey, blessings to your children. That's wonderful. The act of baptism is important to deny Satan and all his works, and good for them. And yeah, that hat. They got the new signed hat. They got the, what is it, CAG now? Not CAGA, but CAG. Keep America Great is the new. And yeah, you don't have to donate, but what they do like you to do is take the survey, let your voice be heard. It's free. They do several a day, and you'll get you'll get bullet points just like you, Aaron, and I do from the RNC. It's the official secure Trump Pence site. Hit it up.
Yeah, I donated 25, but that was before they were doing the signed autograph hat. So I'm like, I should probably go ahead and throw out another little bit.
Well, the great thing about that site is you can get on a reoccurring thing. I think they take $100 from me every month automatically. I don't have to worry about it.
True.
Or you could do 5 or 25 or whatever you can afford. They appreciate every little bit to help fund the wall and all the other great stuff the RNC does.
All right. Well, so tonight, as I mentioned on my my title of the video, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff, guys. Good stuff. This is really interesting stuff that we're both very passionate about. We're passionate about this stuff because it hits home for us. It's home for us. This has been part of our lives. And one thing though that Revel is going to talk about first is frequencies, and I'm just going to kind of let him go with that and talk about what he knows because he has an understanding that goes back in history, going back to Hitler, going back to Nazism, which I totally agree and understand to an extent. So, Revel, why don't you just take the floor, and if I have questions, I'll stop you.
Okay, well, just to start out, 440 is the industry standard, what Hollywood and all radio use, and we'll get into why later, but it's the hertz. It's a standard that was set in 1834 after inventing the tonometer. It was invented by Johann Heinrich Scheibler, a German scientist, the German Natural History Society, the same year in 1834. And the American music industry reached an informal standard of 440 in 1926 after basically the Nazis brought it. And there's a reason for that. And then we began, all musicians use it as a standard. There's a lot of guys out there. A great artist that comes to mind is John Binney, who records in 432. It's the tone of the earth. And I think that's a good segue into what is 432 and why is that a natural frequency. And well, let's start with what a wave is. A wave constitutes either in material, as in a sound wave, or an electromagnetic field, as in radio waves or light. We talk about flicker rates of the idiot box. Well, the radio is another idiot box. It's a particular wave band which a radio station broadcasts. It comes from the Latin word frequens, which went to Latin and then into the Middle English frequence. And then in the mid-16th century, we came up with the word frequency. And it's gradually superseding late Middle English frequency, originally denoting a gathering of people from the Latin word. Now, that being said, frequency is the rate at which something occurs or is repeated over a particular period of time. This is the definition in a given sample. That's one definition. The second one is the fact of being frequent or happening often. Now, then we can get into a little bit deeper into that. 432. To understand the healing power behind 432 hertz, you must first learn about the frequency of 8 hertz. Now, 8 hertz is the fundamental beat of the planet. It's the beat of the ocean. It's the beat of plants. The heartbeat of the earth is better known as Schumann.
How do you spell
Schumann,
like SCHU, do you think? Or
yes, SCHUMANN. Schumann resonance is named after the physicist Winfried Otto Schumann, who documented it mathematically in 1952. That's where we get the 432. In 1952, he documented it as the beat of the earth, essentially. The Schumann resonance, it's what it is. It's resonance is a global electromagnetic resonance, which has its origin in electrical discharge in the cavity between Earth and the ionosphere. It's the resonance. This cavity between the ionosphere and Earth, it's how do I say? It's waves in extremely low frequencies. Let me see. It's like approximately 7 and 8 hertz, but they round it off to 8. It's, I don't know, 7 point something, but they round it off to
7.83.
Okay, 7.83.
I just pulled it up. This isn't knowledge from my own mind. I just pulled it up.
Well, yeah, I mean, I looked at a lot of stuff. You got to dig for the real stuff, though. But the ordinary thought is that it was created by... Okay, the ordinary thought waves in the human brain, they range from 14 hertz to 40 hertz. And you can see the 440 encoded in there. The brain, they range from 14 hertz to 440. This range includes a type of brain cells predominantly with the left, the more rational thought of your brain, the left, and which is the center of activity, your left side of your brain. The two hemispheres of our brain, they synchronize with one another at 8 hertz, okay? So that's where you get the fours. And, your artistic side, I think, is your right. I could be wrong, but the left side of your brain is where all the activity is. And this is why the hypnosis comes in, the frequency, flicker rates, and why it puts you in a low vibration when you watch TV and listen to music and you kind of zone right out. It's a form of control. It's a form. I think we all know that. I mean, I'm not telling you anything we don't know, but it's a little backstory, And not to get all musical, but on the musical scale, the note A has a frequency of 440. The C note is about 261 point something hertz. So if we take the 8 hertz as our starting point and work upwards by octaves, meaning the same note played on a different part of the piano and or guitar. That's how you tune your instrument, is in octaves. You could play an A on the or a G on the third fret. You can find it a few frets up. There's only 12 notes a man can play. They repeat up the fretboard or on the piano or a harp or whatever you're playing. But basically, the 440, they changed the natural sound. It's kind of, I guess, simplistically, you could say it's a C at 256 hertz. All other octaves begin and vibrate in sympathy, and so naturally with the 8 hertz, we can get really word salad with this, but this is why together in mathematical reasons the musical pitch is turned to 432, because the oscillations, the vibrations per second, is the scientific tune. So basically 432 is natural, the tone of the earth, and 440 closes what would commonly be known as your third eye, your pineal gland. When you can see videos on YouTube where when you play music in 440, the sand clumps up into this, just a gnarly glob. But when you vibrate that sand at 432, it makes the most beautiful kaleidoscope patterns, and that's what happens in your brain. That's like the spirit world or the God voice showing you what nature is doing with vibrations. So what's that make people want to do? It makes them want to party, makes them want to dance. You feel it in your hips when you think of I don't know, just pick a genre. But there was a time before Hitler brought it over that all instruments were turned in 432. Now, I just posed the question to you. Why did we change it, and why is it still the standard?
What? Well, okay. So speaking of the mind control thing, Brooke came in and very early on, and she'll come back and watch later. She had a question about, MK Ultra is old. It's not new. We only know about it because it's been retired. Obviously, it's something that they've got something better
Right.
now. And so, if it, obviously, like I agree with you, they're gonna. If you listen to the song "Sound of Silence," they're singing about how they're gonna control us through the airwaves, and Abnormi and I talked about that a couple weeks ago as well, and we talked about again that song, "The Sounds of Silence." And so she had a question about it was MK Ultra. She said, MK Ultra programming with frequencies. Would you be able to share which frequencies are good? Some were programmed to activate super soldier assassin alter personalities because of the tones and frequency triggers. And I wonder if that has anything to do with some of these shootings or things like that are going on. What do you think?
Well, that's interesting. There's two avenues that come to mind there. I have a good friend. I know you're not into the tarot thing and stuff, but good friend of mine, Jenny Moonstone. We had a conversation about that shooting with Nicholas. What was his name? Nicholas Cruz, maybe,
I don't
down
remember.
by her in Florida. Down by her in Florida, that school
Yeah.
shooting.
Okay.
Um,
Is that the one that was? Is
the
that the
thought
Parkland?
is,
Is that the Parkland school one?
yeah, I think so. I think so. On her page, she's really brave. She went in front of like cops and questions, and it is some kind. We know Bluetooth technology is real and V2K
Oh
is
yeah,
real.
yeah.
So what's to say if they use it on the battlefield to put the voice of God into these Pakistanians or Israelis or
Right,
whatever, they wouldn't do it to our own people?
right.
The voice of God. Like there were some questionable vans out front, and kudos to her for going down there. And it's one of her less watched videos, but I don't know. I just thought of that when you said the shootings. That came to mind. But there's a lot of people talking about that on their channels, like Dahlia and Roxanne and you, and I mean, I don't. Yeah, I think it is, but I don't know what frequency they would use. But what I do know is patriots are in control now. But let's not get it twisted. Soros has still got money. They've got to just probably not as good technology as the military, but something close. I mean, look at CNN. That's a mind control unit. They're putting ideas in people's heads. It's just, I think it's to a lesser degree. Did I lose you?
No, I was just waiting for your Wi-Fi to. What it does is it slows you down sometimes, and then you catch up. And I didn't know if I was waiting for you to catch up. So
Yeah, I was just saying. Yeah, I think the
I think I
media
heard. We heard
itself is a
everything.
form of
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that's part of the subversion process too, because if you look at if you and I'm going to ask you a specific question in a second about the 440, but if you look at the subversion process, they infiltrate the media, they infiltrate the teachers, they infiltrate the books, they infiltrate the magazine, everything. But my question is if 440 is bad, is it because the music is based off of tuning at 440? It doesn't mean the 440 hertz are bad, because when you look at the list of all the hertz of all the notes, there's multiple hertz, like from very low to very high. And so 440
Well,
by itself is just part of the hertz, but is it when you base the music off of the 440 that's the problem? Can you know that?
well, if you listen on my music, well, let me go back. When I was in the 8 Mile thing with my buddies, when we were trying to be famous and everything, I spent a lot of time, partying and hanging out with Mark and Jeff Beck, and I learned a lot about frequency from them. And one of the things that's, if I could summarize it real quickly, what Hollywood does was they'll give you a lot of garbage in 440, mostly everything. But when they really want to push an artist, they will change the frequency. Now, I don't know if it's 432 or if it's a couple degrees higher or lower than 440, but they will change the frequency so your ear picks it up and you go, hey, this sounds pleasing, and you buy that record. And if they want to push a Britney or a Justin or you'll notice a more crisp, more pleasing tone than your average indie band. Okay, because everybody is so programmed just to use 440 to turn your guitar. They don't even have to ask us anymore. That's just how we tune, because we're programmed. If you listen to my music or John Binney's, there's many great artists out there. I'm all over the place. I'm doing 536, 532. If you listen to my music, it doesn't sound like anything else. I'm not trying to promote myself. It's just a fact. But most people just stick with 432, the frequency of the world. I'm more experimental. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. But if you change the frequency, it's just a way of keeping you dumbed down in 440, because that's what you're listening to the TV in, is 440.
Okay.
It's just the standard.
I think I need to clarify my question, because this is a legitimate question I don't have the answer to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a scale right now, and I think you can see what I can see, right? I fixed that so you can see. It says frequencies for equal tempered scale, and you've got all these frequencies starting from 16.35 going up to 7,902. So when you're saying you're in the 440 range, does that mean because you tuned at 440? Could I tune at these other frequencies?
Yeah.
Could I tune at these other frequencies and find a different problem, or do I play these notes and cause a problem?
Well, you're tuning your guitar in 440, and you can play in 440. But here's the good part: if you have eyes to see, it's just not an idiot. You can go on Google Play and download the 432 app, which will convert everything from Hollywood from 440 into 432 at the touch of a button. So we could take the science right out of it now. We now have an app that if you just take your fingers, and it's free, it's 432, it will download your whole catalog. And what's good about this app is it will give you a pitch. And this is how people will know. It plays a beep in 440, and it's like, and it's very low tone. And then you can listen to that same beep in 432, and it's like, it's higher. It elevates your mind, and it changes your music. So you don't have to worry about tuning. You don't have to know anything about music. My 7-year-old could do it.
Great.
It's called the 432
That's
app.
good to
now,
know.
I'm not getting paid to push that.
Of course
I
you're
just
not.
use it.
Of course not. And this is
But
on
here's
Google
another
Apps,
thing.
but I have an iPhone, so I have to look on my iPhone and see if I can get in my iPhone apps, which hopefully I can.
Yeah, it's there. There's many different apps. But if I could plug one channel that I have nothing to do with, I don't even know, it's called Truth Stream Media. It's like a dude and his girl in Texas, I believe.
I know who
But
they are.
They have a video. Yeah, they have a video about not so much frequency, but about chords and tones, and how the media will use, like a Tom Petty, Bob Dylan is your cowboy chords, your G, your C, your D, your Beatles progression. But then you have and they all represent a planetary scale and a vibration. Some come from Saturn, some come from Jupiter, and it breaks it down. The Devil's Key, Jimi Hendrix played in E flat, and Stevie Ray Vaughan, they call it the Devil's Key. I believe Stevie to be of the Lord, and I don't know, Jimmy had his struggles, but
they play an E flat. All great bluesmen that legend has they were at the crossroads and made a deal with the devil, or Robert Johnson. You go back to the old bluesmen, Muddy Waters. Um, you could go on, but they play an E flat, which lowers it down. And I love the blues, so I don't know if it's good or bad, but they play in the devil's key. It's a dark, dissonant tone, and it's people like it.
Okay, and so that's my question. That I forgive me if I don't make sense, but does that mean
No.
that they're tuning in at 440 or a different one? Because what is it? I've heard
Yes.
that. I've heard it.
No.
Not Metallica, but
Okay.
Megadeth guy. Was it Megadeth? I don't care. One of those guys was talking about how that they set a satanic tone and chords and stuff like that. So is that so? You're saying watch this video might explain it better because it's not all just the frequency.
Yes.
Some of
Well,
it's the chords too.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's a combination of two. It gets intricate, but what Dave Mustaine of Megadeth was talking about, I saw
Yeah.
that video.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
Dave is talking. We all tune in the industry standard of 440. The hertz comes. It's an afterthought. The hertz you have to manipulate manually. So you're in 440 when you tune eight. Your guitar strings go E A D G B E from low to high. E A D G B E, and that's 440. Now you record a song. Now, after you record that song is when you make the frequency. When you add what vibration you're going to play it to the people in, present it. Now, the E flat, that's a different topic. So if I'm in standard, E standard, what everybody plays, Kumbaya, everybody, I mean, they probably don't have any bad intentions. Everybody tunes in EAD into 440. It's just what all tuners are set up for. We'd take a whole overhaul of the musical industry to change this. This is what we tune in. It's called the industry standard. Now, that being said, you can tune that EAD GBE 1/2 step lower, and that's what's called E flat. It's just not as bright of a tone. It sets you down into your zone. And the blues, it's better for blues. It's better for Hendrix. And I don't know. They say you got to be sad to play the blues. You feel it emotionally. It's a So that's what the E flat is. The best way I could.
Okay, so I'll have to. I follow Truth Stream Media on YouTube. They have a YouTube channel. They also have a website. I pulled it up. It's just truthstreammedia.com. It's Aaron and Melissa Dykes. They're married, and they both used to be on InfoWars. Now, don't hold that against them if you don't like InfoWars, because they're not on there anymore. So there's probably a good reason for that. They've got a big following because they make some pretty good videos.
Yeah.
They do. They make great videos. And I haven't watched that one. I need to watch
about
it.
Tone, and he really goes into what the C represents in Jupiter. Now I have to ask Jenny and stuff. I don't know about planets. I mean, I know where they are aesthetically, but I don't know the vibration that the A chords. I mean, I've even asked her about it. Like, what does this represent? What does this represent? And it's very interesting. It's very, very.
Yeah, something I need to learn more about. Speaking about the frequencies in music. Secular music, certainly you said that they're using it. Tell us where you grew up and what you know about some of the people you grew up around, and tell us about some things, and mention Eminem if you would, because I want to talk about him a little bit.
Well, I grew up in Flint, and guys around my age was like, we had MC Breed, guys from Flint with me, and we would go to Detroit a lot, and that's when I started to rub shoulders in some of the. And I'm not promoting this lifestyle, but some of the strip club, the drug scene, and things, when I kind of strayed away and got involved in Kid Rock, I'd share studio time with Eminem and 8 Mile. And not that these guys were my best friends, but we frequented the same clubs. We knew the same dancers. We just knew the same people. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, but it's just what we did. And Mark and Jeff Bass were two Jews I think they're from the Boogie Down Bronx originally, but they set up a little shop down called 8 Mile. And me and Paulie, better known as Thug Beats, and Pat, we'd go down there in the studio, and their spiel to us, I'm not saying it was a spiel, it just never panned out. We were going to be the house band for this bar they had in like the Caribbean, Jamaica or somewhere. And they're like, yeah, you guys are great. You sound like the Police. And we would develop our sound. And they developed guys like Reverend Right Time and the First Cut Funk. And I think there was a band called Bad Frog. And I mean, that was a time when Flint was blowing up in Buckingham Alley. You had guys like Gene Poole and the Globe, and I was just at the bar the other night. I played at for 20 years. You know, I just one of my bands, and but what I can tell you is I spent many a nights with these guys and ladies, clubs, and we hang out and talk about music, and they were great guys, great guys. They played with a guy named I think Sean Forbes at the Fox down in Detroit. And Kid Rock, he made his name, he grinded out. He started hip hop, and it's not like I was ever the guy's best friend, but he's got bars down here. He did that song Bullfrog, which some say is satanic.
What was his name again?
King Marshall Mathers. Robbie, Kid Rock.
Oh, that was Kid Rock. Oh, yeah. We'll talk about him too.
Yeah, he had Early Morning Stone Pimp, the guys from St. Clair Shores. They all had their little crew. We had our crew from Flint. Mathers was, I don't know anything. He was just a kid that came around. Just, everybody thinks he's a god or whatever. He blew up, and Mark and Jeff retired on that kid. It's all you need is one good artist will sell out. And I think he sold him to Dr. Dre.
Oh, yeah.
And that whole thing
absolutely
that they
did.
With Puffy.
Yeah,
to
there's
Interscope Records.
They did a song
for like $4.4 million.
Yeah, Dr. Dre Eminem did a song where he talks about what he let Dr. Dre do to him, which we know it's a lot of sodomy.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I could tell you when they flew me out to Cali, they didn't ask me to eat no babies or anything, but they did want me to get with some producer or some shit. I don't know. It's just
it's not like we have proof of this, but when Eminem himself spoke about it in a song that he wrote.
Well, I think we all know at this point there are ways to make your bones in Hollywood, just like the mafia. Either you make a tape and you do something sick on film, or what I consider sick, or what you would, is really what they do out there.
Right.
And they have it over you, whether it be men or choking yourself or whatever the creepy stuff is, and they have a tape, and if you don't toe the line politically, you will be exposed. Look what they did to Michael Jackson. Look what they did to Cornell. Look what they did to Chester Bennington when they started to even show signs that they were going to go against them. Look what they did to Prince. Prince, he was a spiritual guy. Prince was all about the book of Revelation. Prince would take women home and read them the Bible. And then when Sony got mad, they shut him down, and he painted slave on his face as a rebellion to this, because that's what Kid Rock did. They got money, and Prince got money, and they said, we don't need you guys no more.
That's why, okay, so speaking of that,
now,
when Prince changed his name and made that symbol and everybody thought he was so stupid, that was a lot about the fact that they had a hold on him over the name of Prince, wasn't it? Wasn't that about that?
Yeah.
And so he changed his name to a symbol.
Yes. Absolutely. The same guys, I think Mathers is signed to Sony or Death Row, or they're all the same.
Yeah,
they all go
matter.
back to the same corporate company. But yeah, Prince, I don't know about dudes from Detroit, but all I know that Prince was a god to me, I mean, musically, and he had such a library that people have never heard that they put on hold, would not let him release albums, would not let him use his name. So he said, hey, F you, here's the finger. I'm going to change my name to a symbol. But you had the mainstream media that everybody believes, hey, Prince is nuts now.
Yeah, that's
Prince
what they tried to,
has gone off
what
the
a
deep
weird,
end.
why would he make himself a symbol? And
Same thing they
I wasn't even into
Trump
I wasn't even
supporters and
into conspiracy theories when I heard that. I was like, oh, that makes a lot. It just made sense. I was like, that makes a lot of sense, because we understand, even without having this kind of stuff that we get into, we know that these companies own people and they own their rights to their songs and everything. We just know that. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, well, no wonder he changed his name to a symbol. That made perfect sense to me. I probably heard that over 10 years ago, and I was like, yeah, I get that. That makes sense.
That's why I listen to guys like John Binney and independent artists. I mean, we might not have millions of followers, but man, that guy's good. And just because he isn't signed to a label, I mean, you can see the reaction he gets from the loyal not fans, but friends. He would call them friends that he has, and that guy puts out content like crazy. And just because he's not signed by Hollywood doesn't mean John Binney's not the man. You know what I mean?
That's probably why he's the man. And somebody had a question I want to ask you real quick before I forget. Hold on. Okay. Do you know about King David in the Bible playing a chord that was pleasing to the Lord?
Yes.
What chord was it? Do you know?
I've been talking. Yes. It's the secret chord of destiny. There's a song called Hallelujah on Shrek. It's called
Yeah.
I Heard There Was a
Yep.
Secret Chord That David Played. And yeah, we all heard
Yes.
that. It's the A minor. It's the sad chord. Anyone who plays guitar knows that Neil Young, Bob Dylan, the Grateful Dead, the Beatles, when they want to do a happy song, or I mean even Pink Floyd for that matter, is based the song "Wish You Were Here." Okay,
Yeah,
it's based
I
out
love
of
that
the
song,
G chord.
to be
They're called
honest.
cowboy chords. Yeah, campfire chords. What you would play on acoustic: the G major, the C, the D major, the F, and the secret one, the A minor. It's the one you fall to. It's the one that touches your heart and makes you melancholy. It's the secret chord that David knew, and it goes back to King Solomon. And it goes to the blues too. Blues is an A, E, and B, but you can find that B7 and that A minor in more intricate songs. It's just the chord that reaches you. I can't really. It's an ethereal thing, but once you include it, like "Friend of the Devil" is. I know it's an odd title from Jerry Garcia. A lot of people don't know that the Grateful Dead never. It's an interesting point. The Grateful Dead never wrote their own lyrics. They had a poet named Robert Hunt who wrote all their lyrics for them, and they were originally. Here's another thing. In Haight-Ashbury times with Janis Joplin and the hippie movement, the Grateful Dead was known as the Warlocks. That was their first name, the Warlocks. Now take that how you want to. The Wizards, the Warlocks, and they were pro audio, something that you won't find. You could go to that's why people trade Grateful Dead bootlegs, and it was an underground community. They were called Deadheads, and because Grateful Dead said, hey, you can come in and play us because we're in a frequency higher here when we play live, and you can trade them with your friends. But you go to a Metallica concert, and Lars and James are like, no, you can't share us on Shazam, you can't share us on Napster.
I remember that.
And Government Mule, shouts out to Warren Hayes, Matt Epps, and the late Alan Woody. They're pro audio band. You won't find a lot of bands like them. We were always pro audio. We let anybody come in and tape us. There's bootlegs of us.
I just looked this up. John Perry Barlow is the guy who wrote for the Grateful Dead?
Robert Hunter.
Oh, he was a lyricist. Oh, he was the lyricist.
Yes.
That's one of the lead singers.
No, Jerry Garcia and Bob Weir, later to become Rat Dog. He had his own side project, which is a great band, Rat Dog. Jerry Garcia, he did it. They were like the Beatles. Jerry Garcia sang sometimes, Bobby sang sometimes. They switched as vocalists, but the writer was Robert Hunter, who was never seen at all.
Okay, so I wonder if this is a lie then, right? I found the first article I found says Grateful Dead lyricist John Perry Barlow, who is a name that Q has dropped, by the way. I'm pretty sure.
Well, maybe, yeah. He was involved. But they had. What I'm saying is they had other people write their lyrics, and I'm sure I don't know everything about the Grateful Dead, but yeah,
Okay, I
know a lot.
I'm gonna file that. This guy's from Wyoming, a cattle rancher, John Perry Barlow. I feel like Q dropped John Perry
Barlow.
Barlow.
About Robert Hunter?
Let me look. Robert Hunter.
Maybe I'm wrong, but that was what I always thought was. Maybe I got it mixed up. I'd like to correct myself.
Well, no, Robert Hunter is a lyricist for the Grateful Dead. Joined the Grateful Dead in the fall of 1967. And you're wrong.
Good. I was right.
Yeah. But this guy, that was the first thing that came up, which is odd to me because I feel like Q has dropped the name John Perry Barlow, and I got to go look at. So I'm going to just file that for now. So just forget about it. But yes, you're right. You are correct. Robert Hunter.
Thank you.
Okay, so now I have a bone to pick. Now, hold on. I don't know if you want to mention this Mace guy or not. Do you have anything? I know I had something pulled up about him, so I didn't know if you wanted to mention him.
Oh, I liked Mace. The only thing I know about Mace is he fell into that Hollywood thing for a while. And as far as I know, just from videos anybody can watch, he rejected that and became a minister and dropped that whole Hollywood thing like the Kid did, like Kid Rock. And Kid Rock went into more Skinnerd and Sheryl Crow.
Yes, that's why we talked about it.
I don't know. He was
that's
always,
good.
Yeah, he was.
Keep talking.
No, I'm just saying you would see a transition from Kid Rock when he goes on Fox now. He's a Republican. I believe he's a Trump supporter. I haven't talked to Kid.
He is.
I don't even know
he is.
He's dating like Pam Anderson. He's off the chart. I don't have,
I don't think he's dating Pam Anderson anymore, but.
Well, I'm just saying, like, he's took off into the stratosphere, and his agents, you couldn't get to that guy anymore. Like, he was once just a down home boy, came into Flint, did a few shows, rubbed shoulders with the boys, and then he got a deal like Marshall, and they took off.
Yeah, so what he said recently that I love, because so extremely true, and he's already being right wing. He's already called some people out, made them look dumb on. It was some mainstream media thing. It was hilarious. But he just put on Twitter recently, Taylor Swift wants to be a Democrat because she wants to be in movies. Period. And it looks like she will suck the doorknob off Hollywood to get there. Oldest move in the
low legs.
Oldest move in the book. Good luck, girl. And so of course it sparked this huge thing but he's not wrong. Not wrong at all.
No, good for the kid. Good for the kid, because I always had respect for him. Nobody ever respected those stack of dimes Marshall Mathers. People say, oh, he's a respected rap battler. And I'm like, where? Because dudes in Detroit never, other than a group of homies on the corner that just spit, like that whole 8 Mile thing is a Hollywood lie. It's constructed. Yeah, the only thing true that I ever seen is that he worked in the shops and he was a Detroit boy. Yeah, I'll give him that. He is talented. He can word salad, but I never seen him play no instrument like Kid. I never seen him bust out an acoustic or do anything more talented than call people the FAG or, and then talk. This is my big problem with them. Talking about our president as if he matters on that Grammy thing, the damn most satanic show of the year, saying here's the line in the sand and trying to get the black community to turn against my president. That's my problem. That's when I started talking crap about the kid. It's like, who do you think you are, son?
Yeah. Because, and here's the thing is, like you said, he's just probably passed around and, doing what they do in that industry, but they're doing it to him still. I bet he never got to the top and got to stop doing that. He never, I bet he's still out there taking it. And he wrote, like I said, he wrote a song about it. He mentions it that.
Oh, he looks pretty comfortable being the little demon that he is. Knack, let the devil in.
But
That's Venom.
Look at how many times he's tried to retire.
Out of here. Oh, the relapse, this, that, the whole Kim saga. Give me a break. Get out of here. People that follow that are just mental midgets.
Well, okay, so the reason that we're talking about this kind of stuff too, guys, so I get to go on my little what do you call it, soapbox for a minute, but John hopefully will join me. Now here's the thing, guys, we both don't know what we both know, right? He's lived a life where he knows a lot about these people, but he also knows a lot about the stuff that he's looked into for the reason like God's got a hand on him. And so that's why he's teaching me about this frequency stuff. Goodness gracious. But here's the thing that drives me nuts, right? So I have this article pulled up and it says Monsters, Men, and Magic, Why Feminists Turn to Witchcraft to Oppose Trump. And it's an article that you can read. I'm not going to read it, but I'm going to talk about how they're going full witch. You've seen the witches out there. They're casting spells and now here's the thing is, I get people in here and I understand they think there's good witch and there's bad witch. I'm not going to get into good witch and bad witch. I'm just going to tell you right now. I'm going to talk about the bad witches. Whatever you think about witches, this is the bad witches. But even Lana Del Rey, she's like, I'm a witch and I'm hunting you. It's cool now. Basic witches. I saw girls even wearing that shirt at boot camp the other day. She doesn't know what it means. I get that. But covens, all these women are coming up with their little covens. AOC's got her cousin. All these people have these little coven things going on. Right. It's super creepy.
It's a way to get the youth.
Exactly, especially like now it's not just millennials, there's a younger group than that, and I think they're called the Zeta or whatever. They're going to Z so that they can start back with A probably, and then we're at Brave New World. Don't they
sell Ouija boards at the Myers, and don't they sell Ouija boards to kids?
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, of course. And they make it sound like it's just nothing. It's just for fun. And I'm grateful that I never got into that stuff. But if you look at the kids shows, look at Disney, they're putting out a lot of stuff called The Descendants. And the Descendants are like the bad ones. And they're saying, oh, I'm not going to be good anymore. I'm going to go bad. Or they're descendants of the bad ones, of the bad Disney characters. And I'm talking about.
Make it cute.
Yeah, it's cute. They've got songs. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is what really chaps my hide, and I mean it, is when people infiltrate the Christian music industry and they say they're a Christian and they are nothing at all a Christian. They are a witch. And this person in particular I'm going to talk about, her name is Lauren Daigle. And guess what? Guess what you said that I know is what it is. With her, what people say is, more than I've heard this over and over, her music just moves me. Her music, so she's probably playing in that key that you're talking about, like Wish You Were Here and stuff. I'm going to have to compare it. I'm going to do some homework on this because I think that's exactly right. What we're hearing here is some...
Well, it's probably 4/4. hurts. I mean, I don't know what chords she uses. It sounds like, I don't know. Is she acoustic or is she like a techno girl? Or
No,
what?
she sings, and then she's a singer, right? And then she's just got some
So
background.
they use instruments.
Yeah,
Like a drummer and okay, yeah. So it's probably 440 in standard tuning.
but
E
but
flat,
you
I would
mentioned
know,
it. But
yeah.
you mentioned, okay. So is the E? You said it was the secret chord. Is the same as the it's the same as the 440. What you're talking about, like "Wish You Were Here" and all that.
Yeah, 440. That's industry standard. 440 hertz. I do believe I'd have to put it on something that would gauge it. But most all modern music is 440. They
Okay.
may
Well,
tweak
I
it
thought you
to.
were mentioning "Wish You Were Here" in particular because in the blues because
Well, I
that.
was referring to the A minor in the Devil's chord. Yeah,
Well,
it
that's
is
what I'm at.
probably an E flat.
That's what I'm asking about.
Yeah,
I.
yeah.
But
I'd say you're not wrong.
because you say that people hear that and it like does something with them, and people say this about her music. They say it moves me. It moves me. And here's what I'm going to say.
Oh, I'm sure she uses the A minor. Yeah,
Okay.
this
Right. So
sad chord she that makes people melancholy.
right. So here's what I'm going to say about her. She was on American Idol years ago, and she didn't get on. Her voice wasn't that great. She didn't make it. And then she became a Christian singer. Now, I don't know when. She's got too much of an Instagram. She's got too much going on for me to decide when. I don't care when. But at some point, she moved over, if she was ever Christian at all. I mean, they might have said, hey, you're not that great here in the secular world. We don't think you're ready. Go to the Christian. I don't know how this works. Kind of like you can mention like Katy Perry at some point. We'll talk about that in a second. It might be related, right? I think some people, they say, go over to the Christian world for now. And some people, they say, no, we're ready to put you here. Like, you're not going to be the Christian singer. And this girl, she's got nothing but huge amounts of symbolism. This that she's wearing on her head right here, this thing right here, you guys, this is what you'll see on the Triple Goddess. This is what's called the Triple Goddess. Look, you can look up Triple Goddess. You can see that they wear these things on their head. She is not hiding it. People think I'm crazy. I don't care. You can say there's a lot of coincidences, but it's not. She wears beads. She wears scarves. And it turns out, guys, there is what's called the Stitch and Witch shawl ministry. Who cares? There's just some people, but it's actually a thing for witches. They have a prayer shawl. They make them. They want to do their witch prayers on them. And this is a thing. So she's got that. And then she wears these necklaces that are literally, I mean, look at this. This is a half moon. You've got the witch moons, the triple moons. It's a similar thing as the triple moon. She got all this stuff. She wears beads. She wears different moons, necklaces. She wears all this stuff. She wears like these pearls, a lot of it you can find. It's witchcraft. And she's not hiding it all. She's not wearing crosses, guys. Why isn't she wearing crosses? If she's a Christian, why isn't she wearing crosses?
I just looked up Lauren Daigle's song. I don't know anything really, but it's Trust in You is her song that first comes up. And I looked up the tablature for it, and you're absolutely right. The A minor, the Secret Chord of Destiny, is all over this song, and the E minor. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like a sad kind of, it's a C to a G to an E minor to an A minor. Yeah, you called it.
Right. So when you look at this video, this song that it's on all the radio waves. It's all over the place. Everybody's listening to it. Everybody loves her. Everybody thinks she's so great. And yet she's got the black and white dichotomy animal print on the floor. She's wearing a yellow shirt. The sun is just huge in this. Huge. And then her clothes are nothing Christian about these clothes. She's got this shirt that's showing her tummy. I mean, but the necklaces, it's the necklaces that it's like she wants you to see the necklaces. And the necklaces got the.
Well, it actually says.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, say what you're going to say.
No, it just actually says at Darcy Guitar Diva says that there should be, as an A minor, there should be an A minor 7, which is a more variant. It's more more technical than the A minor. You add the pinky to the 7th to make it an A minor 7. So yeah, they get deep into the Secret Chord of Destiny there. That I refer to it as Secret Chord of Destiny.
Right, and so this woman has a huge following, guys. She is everywhere. She has 1.5 million followers on Instagram, but I can imagine her YouTube is even crazier. And then I've got these pictures where she's dressed in black,
Wow.
and she's dressed in gold.
Doesn't she look like Amy Grant?
Dressed in white. So what do you know about Amy Grant? Because you've been mentioning Amy Grant.
Well, did I lose you?
No, can you hear me?
Okay, yeah.
I said, what do you know about Amy Grant?
Well, wasn't she the sweetheart of the Christian world that parlayed into pop, and then Katy Perry wanted to be the new Amy Grant, but they were so confident in their I don't know what you would call it, their satanic Pete, I don't know. You see Gwen Stefani and Will Ferrell and
yeah.
Blondie and Abramovich at those parties. I just think they said we don't need to infiltrate. Because you say Satan likes to mock Jesus, so they would put these women in the Christian world. And now what do we have? Bon Appetit, whatever else they're making her sing in order to gain fame and money. Like Joel Osteen, we talk about had stupid,
Yes.
crap-eating grin and his $1,000 Rolexes, the way he looks and his oily hair. That with those preachers, they irk. They're like Jesus would never support these men ever.
Same with T.D. Jakes and Kirk Franklin. He's a supposed Christian artist and writer, but he's got some show on BET of all places. He's got a show on BET where he's got like hexagons in the background of him and everything's in purple. And we know that purple is a signature color because of royalty, but it turns out there's something to do with Saturn, guys, called the Purple Dawn of Saturn. That's really got something to do with it. I might have to look up one of these days.
Well, and that parlays right into what we were discussing earlier about the Grammys and the purple and the checkered floor. Like, I know I played Don Henley the other day, and I'm not saying Don Henley's satanic because I don't know, but the Eagles reached a high level of stardom, and in that song "Dirty Laundry" or the album cover, you see that checkered floor, that Mason. And I'm not a Mason basher, but you do see that Masonic checkered floor a lot in the Grammys and the Golden Globes and all the circle jerk festivals where these guys all put themselves up and pat each other on the back. And, oh, you're such a god.
Yeah, that's right. So what I just learned tonight is it's like an initiation ritual, getting these awards. And she got tons of Dove awards because she's supposedly Christian. Then she went on to get Grammys and all this stuff. Yeah, go on.
Well, look what they did with Miley Cyrus. She was Hannah Montana. I let my daughters watch these people for years, and then look what they made. I don't know if they made her do it or if it was a conscious decision or if her dad was owned, but shame on him for letting his daughter, I don't care how old she is, get on and lead other kids, like our kids, my kids, your kids, to think that this behavior on stage and these lyrics and I think she's a talented musician with a great voice, but it's the message that Disney says, okay, here, we're gonna make you popular as a child, a squeaky clean teen, and then you go to our parent companies and we're gonna promote you as the straight up demon. Like, it gives good kids the wrong idea is all I'm trying to.
Yeah. This is why I say that this is kind of a personal thing for me, because I get so frustrated by the fact that this person will say she's a Christian, and as a Christian I have friends that just love her. They love her. She just moves me. And I'm like, you gotta know, this is a witch. This is a total witch. She doesn't care about you.
You can't. That's the catch-22 is you can't deny the good melody. You can't deny the conditioning of the mind to the 440. It is aesthetically pleasing, especially if they tweak that frequency a little. And the lyrics are probably of love and light and of lost love, or
my identity.
It's something everybody can relate to. And I can't fault them for liking it, but they don't know what the deeper the imagery, what they flash and the flicker rates combined with the colors. And it's all getting into your subconscious. It's all getting you to accept a certain way of living that is, I don't know, not so great.
Yeah. And so okay, she's obviously a witch. I'll get off that topic for a minute because I think I'm going to do some stuff with her. I think I'm going to do some stuff talking about her. Here's Kirk Franklin. This guy's a just total piece of crap. Just horrible. Ugh, I mean, he's gay too. He definitely is. And so now what we have is this problem where we have these people that are pastors or they're Christian influencers, and they've moved hundreds of thousands of millions, maybe, young people at whatever point. And I pulled up this article, well-known Christian author. He denounces, I guess might be different. He renounces his faith. I hope you can forgive me. He wants forgiveness from the world instead of God. Sick. It pisses me off. Right. I'm telling you, I know that was a swear word. But
in Revelations, it says, if you're a friend to the world, you're an enemy to me. In Revelations, it clearly states, if you're a friend of the world, if you're a friend of Hollywood, basically, you're an enemy of me, him, capital him. as you know, is what I derive from that statement. And he says that Satan is in control of the airwaves because God lets him be. So we have free will. So there is that yin and yang, the two paths you can go down, but in the long run, there's still time to change the roads you're on. People say that Jimmy Page wrote, the legend has it, he wrote Stairway to Heaven in Aleister Crowley's castle, and his hand was pushed to write these things. Now, I don't know if that's true. I don't know Jimmy Page, but I'm just saying and I think he even speaks about it. He bought Aleister Crowley's mansion.
Right. So I mentioned that, God, we could go on forever because I'm hearing you and I'm like, oh my gosh, kind of blows my mind. But I'm going to go back to this guy who renounced his faith for just a second, because look at the next one that's going to do it. Now, I have a friend, she doesn't love it when I do this, but I had to send this to her. I said, I guarantee you Hillsong's going to be next. This guy who has got this huge supposed Christian following, all their music is being played in every church on Sunday. All their music is being played at every church on Sunday. This guy won't talk about, he says it's okay to be gay. He doesn't know if abortion is sinful. He doesn't know what he's talking about because, he's a hipster pastor. This guy, he wears shirts. This guy right here, he wears shirts for demonic bands on stage pastoring to Christians. He wears it. Nobody knows because they don't look into it. It's like, that's a great shirt. Like, who's that band? It must be some great Christian boy band, right? No, wait, it's a demonic worshiping Satan band. And he's got all these singers that are beautiful singers. Like you said, you can't deny the sound. It's beautiful. They've got beautiful songs. I cry when I sing them sometimes, but now I have to look at what I'm dealing with here. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry for cutting in, but look at the lights, and that's why at Pat's house I play with the flicker rates, because I'm using their technology against. I'm taking all their songs back. The point I'm getting to is this is the Democrat agenda, to normalize this guy, to normalize infanticide. That's one of the questions on the Donald Trump website. They say all and over, do you support infanticide, the murdering of children, live babies? And it's, that's why it's important. I know it's a soapbox here, but that's why it's important you go and take these surveys and let your voice be heard on DonaldTrump.com that you don't support what you do fiscally, what you think fiscally the government should do. It gives you a spot to add your personal opinions that he does read and his team reads. Do you support infanticide? Do you support building the wall, et cetera, et cetera? And, that's my spiel on that. But it's an agenda. It's long-term. Like we talk about Albert Pike and these world wars that were created years in advance. All this stuff has been constructed years in advance to move us a certain way, to deny God, as in John the Revelator. I hate to go back, but it is what it is. Revelation is the end of the Bible for.
Oh boy. Okay, well, we lost John. I don't know if his. Oh, you're there. I hear you now.
Yeah, I was just saying the Revelation is the last chapter in the Bible for a reason, and I tend to believe we're living in those times now where Satan does control the airway.
So I'm going to read this I'm going to read a couple of scriptures to you guys. I mean, they're all, some of them are the same, but this is important, and this is why it gets me. Proverbs 6:19, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. That is something that God hates. God hates it. It says that at the beginning of these Proverbs, that there are 7 things that God hates. And this is one of them, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. That was the other, so I just picked this particular, that was part of it. But I picked this one because, it starts with like 12, I think. But I picked that one because I'm like, this is, a naughty person, a wicked man that walketh with a forward mouth. It talks about, how you speak, the things that you say, but also a false witness.
Yeah.
A false witness is something that God hates. Now, another thing that this is in all the scriptures. This is in all the New Testament scriptures.
That's one of the
Go ahead.
10 Commandments. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. It's pretty simple.
Right. And so, so here's the one that really gets me. But this is from Matthew 18:6, and I'm going to show you that it's not just Matthew. But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him if a milestone were hung around his neck and he were drowned in the depths of the sea. And you'll see that again in Luke 17:2. It would be better for him if a millstone were hung around his neck and he were thrown into the sea, that he should offend one of these little ones. And again, And
Yeah,
Mark,
if you ever hurt a kid, it'd be better if you never lived.
but this is also who pulls any. He says if anyone causes anyone to sin, it's not just the kids. You're right, but it's if you cause anyone to sin that believes in me,
Yes.
it would be better that a millstone would be hanging around your neck and cast into the sea. It's in Mark, it's in Luke, and it's in Matthew. It's in Proverbs. It's in the Ten Commandments. It's everywhere. And so this is why I get especially angry, and it's righteous anger, guys. This isn't unchecked anger. I'm not losing my mind over here and going crazy and being like, I'm so mad, I can't handle this. But I get a righteous anger with people like, Lecrae, that I did a whole video on in the Boulay, and that people like Lauren Daigle, who's charging up to $1,000 a ticket at her shows, guys. You can't trust somebody. What did you say? Anyone who's making it with a lot of money, what do you say? What did you say to me earlier about anyone who's making it?
Well, it was in reference to the pastors, and I say all these pastors in their seats of throne and their $1,000 Armani suits, buying extra jets to fly here and there, making money off the word of God. I venture to say Jesus would probably do the same as he did to tax collectors and flip their churches on their heads and take back what he meant for the church to be, which is where two or more gather in nature, you can find. And, I see we have the sacred 3 minutes left here, which parlays into your last, how you said you find this all through the Bible. There's something called the sacred law of three, which you repeat something 3 times. All great authors do it. Edgar Allan Poe, artists do it in their paintings, Da Vinci, but mostly in the Bible. You will find things repeated 3 times because that will resonate. That is something about that number, when said 3 times, I don't know if it sticks more or... This is just my opinion, but yeah, you mentioned it. You'll find this all through the Bible, and generally the important parts you'll find 3 times.
Right, exactly. And the thing is if a church or
and
a person...
Jesus died at 33.
Yes. And if a church or a person is making boatloads of money and they're charging $1,000 for a ticket, or they're in the millionaire market and they're going to pretend like A$AP Rocky, we try to pretend, and he say, oh no, I believe in God, I pray to God, and everybody's laughing around him. No. Those people have sold their soul to the devil. And here's the thing, like you said, in different ways, whatever it is that they decided to do, whatever it is they agree to, they agree to it more than once. They agree to it more than once, whether it's a human sacrifice, whether it's just something extremely embarrassing, just sick and twisted, whatever it is they agree to and have on video or be a part of, that's what boosts them to where they go. So I don't know what Lauren Daigle got into or what she did. I don't know about Lecrae all that much about what he did. I don't care. But the point is these people, they're getting up there, they're making it, and they're out there. They're worse than the people who admit to it. They're worse than Katy Perry. They're worse than Eminem. To me, okay, so here's what I'm going to say real quick, guys. What can you listen to? Pray to God what you can listen to, because I do believe I have found some good Christian artists. Now, they may not know what frequency they're in, but God is bigger than everything. Now I know how to change the frequency. Thank you, John. Wish you had been here a few months ago, but tell us that. But now I know how to do that because I just downloaded that app as he was talking about it, because now I know how to do that. But here's the thing is I have prayed and I have found artists that they talk about Jesus. They talk about God, and they're not out there making billions and millions, and they're still out there telling their testimony.
Fozzy.
Yeah, that was, I sent that on to somebody, to God's guy. I hope God's guy you watch this, because I sent that on to you. This guy Fozzy, he speaks biblical scripture. Now he's toured with some of these guys like Avenged Sevenfold. I hope he's doing something, because he's touring with people like Avenged Sevenfold.
Save us, Y2J. Save us, Y2J. Hey, can I get one last point in before
Please
you go?
Please
do. I don't have anything. I believe in capitalism. I believe the harder you work, the more money you should make. I don't denounce anybody. Everybody's got to eat. We all got to have our side hustle and make money. But there's a certain point where greed kicks in, especially in the name of Christ. And I just want to leave it there.
Did you get cut off, or did you... Hold on. Go back to where you said it's greed.
Well, yeah, I believe in capitalism. I'm against socialism. I believe the harder you work, the more money you should make. But there's a point where greed kicks in, and especially when in the name of Christ. When you're making that much money in the name of Christ, shame on you. That's just what I wanted to say. I like to eat too. I like money too, but yeah.
Exactly, because you know what somebody tried to say to me? They said, well, maybe, what is she playing? Is it some big venue? And I said, well, of course it is. Oh, well, that's why. No. Yeah. The venue doesn't need $1,000 for those front row seats. The venue doesn't need that. The venue never needs $1,000 for a front row seat. She's taking that money. She could have said, "I don't want it. I don't want the $1,000. You guys don't charge $1,000. Charge $50. I don't need to make this money." No, she doesn't care.
Well, Jesus Christ would not have anything to do with the lamestream media or any of the playing Hollywood games. I think that's just pretty obvious.
Yeah. So I want to say one more thing, guys. Revel has brought some really awesome people here who I really appreciate, and Windsor is one of them. And if you came because of Revel, raise your
Windsor.
If you came because of Revel, raise your hand, because Wildstyle came because of Revel. And I hope you don't mind. I'm an honest person. I've had some people, I've had a couple people question who you are and what you're about. And that's good. Everybody should, right? Well, I don't know about this guy. But
they say all kinds of stuff about me.
But listen, you have brought people to my channel who asked questions and said, well, maybe I want to know more about what you guys believe, because I feel like maybe I'm looking for that. And Wildstyle is one of those. Wildstyle is someone we prayed for last time. And this is her
Wildstyle. Wildstyle.
This is her channel, and I think that is huge. I don't know what's going to happen. She might, change her mind someday and go, I don't want to know. But it's huge that somebody came in and said, man, I'm thinking a little differently.
She's so beautiful. She's so beautiful. Such a beautiful soul.
Yeah, and she came in with the honesty to say, I think I'm thinking about things a little differently. And we prayed for her, and she didn't go, oh, please don't do that. She was like, yeah, would you? Totally accepted it. Totally beautiful.
She's very spiritual. She's very spiritual. She's into aliens, and we do ASMR together, and she makes me and Pat. She's got a great heart. I love her.
And so Jay Killer in the chat just said someone that serves themselves does not serve the Lord, no brainer. And this is the thing I have to tell people all the time.
Amen.
If you're not worshiping God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit, who are you worshiping? And that's why over and over I'll say, choose this day whom you will serve. Because if it ain't God, it's the opposite thing, whether you believe it or not. And that's why I say there's no such thing as a white witch and a black witch. And that's my opinion. That's where I sit it. So, hey, John, I'm going to offer this up to you, but you can say, no, I'm happy to do it myself. But I've been starting to pray at the end of every episode. Do you feel like you would want to pray, or would you like me to do so?
I'll pray with you. Go ahead. I would love to pray with you.
We'll all pray together. Okay. So I'm going to close this out in a prayer, guys, and then we're going to say goodnight, and we're going to go because we got a few other things to do in life. But God, I want to pray right now. I am so excited and grateful for my children and the choice they made to get baptized today in the river. It was beautiful. One of them wanted to do it. She knew it. The other one didn't, and the other one changed her mind. And we prayed about it, and we talked about it, and they both did it. So glory to you, Lord. Glory to you, Jesus. Glory to you, Holy Spirit, that you came upon this family in such a beautiful way. God, I pray for John, who is here every Sunday. I'm grateful. He teaches me stuff. Oh, man, he teaches me stuff, and it's so wonderful. We want to keep asking questions, guys. We don't want to stop asking questions. I pray for all our listeners, the full armor and everything that we say. And I also pray, God, if we ever say anything that people aren't supposed to hear, we're wrong, just strike it from their memory. Like, just make it that they were listening and the other stuff stuck, but this just kind of goes away and they forgot we ever said it. So if we're wrong, and let us not keep repeating it, because we don't want to lead anyone into sin. We don't want to be that person that you got to tie a millstone around and throw us into the sea, Lord. We want to be the real thing. We want to bring people to you, Jesus. We want to bring people to the truth. So we want to grow in discernment and wisdom every day. We love you, Lord. We thank you. We are grateful. We have an abundance. Glory to you, God. We praise your name. Amen.
Amen. And I'm going dead. My battery's going to die. I love
Perfect
you guys.
Timing.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, go ahead and hang up, and I'm going to go ahead and hang up. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. I hope that...
Love you, Aaron.
See ya. We'll talk soon. And everybody else, thank you for being here. I always appreciate you. You know that. I hope you know that by now. And so with that, I'm going to be working on a project. I'm not sure if it's going to be if it's the next one or not. So you can pray for that for me. And I'm going to go live Tuesday and Thursday. Please remember my raffles. I want to get those filled and get them done so we can do some smaller dollar raffles. If you're not a member of 7K Metals, or even if you are and you want to understand how this works, get in on that raffle. But email me, ladyliberty@countermail.com. Have a wonderful night. God bless you guys. We really, really, really love you, and we pray for you. And NPC about baptism, You could have anybody who knows Jesus and the Lord could baptize you in the river. But go to God's Guy channel, or talk to me about that. Email me. If anybody ever has questions or needs prayer, email me, text me. My number's on my website. My number's on my everything. It's all out there. So God bless, guys. I'm available if you need me. And I love you, and good night.